Welcome back to my channel. Today I am working on a Nirvana loose replica of a Vandalism Stratocaster, and I am building it from parts that I've acquired, mostly from this Sunburst body right here, which is a Partscaster that I built earlier this year. The pickguard that's on that, the black pickguard, that's a musically pickguard, I am going to transfer that into the black body. I did go to Guitar Center today looking for a Seymour Duncan humbucker, preferably a JB pickup for the bridge to replace this humbucker that's in this musically pickguard. But to my surprise, or should I say lack of surprise, they actually don't carry those in stock. They told me I have to wait 3 or 4 days for it, and they would probably charge me more than I would pay going online to like Amazon or something like that. So I think I'm just going to get everything wired up for now with this pickguard, and then maybe in a month or two when I change strings again, I will change the pickup to the appropriate Seymour Duncan JB. And I know the purists are going to kill me for this, because in Kurt Cobain's actual Stratocaster guitar, it was a 59 neck pickup, but I just would rather have the sound of a JB. That body I got from eBay, and they said it was a Squier SE Strat body, but it's definitely not. It's definitely a Strat copy, but it is a full thickness body. At first I was thinking that this could have been a Squier Stratocaster that was made in Korea in the late 90s or early 2000s, but it doesn't appear to be an all plywood body. It does appear to be a solid wood body, so looked out with that. Got my soldering iron, new strings, wire cutters. It doesn't seem like you need a lot of stuff, but once you start doing it, then in 5 minutes you have like all kinds of tools out of the toolbox, especially if you have to do any like routing or anything like that. Alright, so let's get to it. See, I'm taking the pickguard off the Sunburst one right now. It's always good to get one of these magnet trays. Put all your screws in. Before that, I was using the Ziploc bags, and that works too. I just like the magnet tray. That's a good thing to get at Harbor Freight. I'm sure you can get one of those pretty cheap. That's where I got my soldering iron too. A cheap one. That thing was probably, I don't really remember how much, but I'm pretty sure it was either $10 or under $10. But I do want to upgrade that eventually to get a better one, because that one just seems like it takes forever to heat up. And I'm going to try hard not to go on like a Guitar Center rant, but yeah, so when I went to get the Guitar Center to get the pickup, I wanted to get the Seymour Duncan JB pickup. I thought that's a pretty common thing. Like, I thought for sure that they would have that, or at least some type of Seymour Duncan. But no. So, alright, that's fine, whatever. I just went to look at the guitars there like I normally do, just browsing at all the guitars. And even though they had, like, a lot of guitars, it seemed like they just didn't have guitars that I really like. It just seemed like their selection of Fender guitars wasn't, and Squier guitars wasn't good. I wanted to actually play a Player Series, either a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar, but they actually didn't have any Player Series Jaguars or Player Series Jazzmasters, which I thought was kind of odd. And come to think of it, I don't even really remember seeing any Player Series Strats. I'm sure they must have had that, because that's like their flagship thing. They did have a Squire Classic Vibe Mustang that was pretty nice. It was the Lake Placid Blue, or Lake Placid Blue, I guess you could say. Definitely not that dark Lake Placid Blue. That was nice, but that's the only color they had. They did not have any Classic Vibe Jaguars, which is odd, because people love those. I know I love those. I love Jaguars in general. Alright, so here's the way we're looking underneath. These musically pickguards are very, very easy to install. So basically it comes with only 3 wires you have to worry about. The 2 black wires are the ground wires. One of them goes through the body to the backside and is soldered to the claw. The other one is soldered to the negative on the output jack. And then the hot wire, or the power wire, goes to the positive on the output jack. But what I did is I just put little leads going from the output jack, and then I attach them here for these 2 wires. I don't know if you can see that or not. So yeah, I need to unattach these 2 here, and then I need to flip it over and unsolder it from the claw, because I am going to use this output jack for that one. I do have another one, but I'd rather just use this one. It's right here and it's ready to go. Alright, so I got the back of the trem now, and this is where the ground wire from the pickguard attaches to the trem claw, and it's soldered there. So when I soldered this on, basically what I did was I heated up the solder, the little metal rod with the soldering iron, heated it up until it was a ball of molten metal, and then right before it cooled, because it cools fast, you have to put the wire in there and then molt a little bit more solder on it, and then it hardens quick. So now I have to do the opposite to get it out of there. I have to heat it up with the soldering iron and then pull the wire out quick. Other bridge that I'm using is actually a Fender stamp saddle bridge with a full-size block, probably the same that are in the Made in Mexico Strats. Those came standard on the Squire SE Strats. They were mostly made in the early 2000s. That people really like them because of the full thickness bodies, which I believe were made of alder, and because they had that bridge. I'm not sure how the necks are compared to like the other Squire's Affinity. Honestly, it's probably the same neck. This neck here, this project is a Squire Classic Vibe Stratocaster 70 Strat, so it has the big headstock on it. So I saw a tip in a video from an actual guitar technician, and he was giving out a tip. Whenever you're putting the input jack in, he said if you can to try to arc the wires up a little bit so they're not going like straight down in front of the, where the jack is coming in. And so I guess the main reason is because you don't want the the cord, the end on the cord coming in and interfering with the wires, and also if it's like straight down like that, you don't want it's more easily pulled apart, I guess, if you're moving the pickguard around. So I believe what he said was just to kind of angle it up just a little bit. So hopefully I left enough slack on here to do that, because I trimmed these ends down a little bit. Okay, so the output jack is all set. Got my two wires, the white and the black, positive and negative, and the pickguard has two negatives and a positive. So this longer one is going to get fed through a little hole in here. That goes back. That one I'm going to solder to the trim claw. The other black wire I'm going to attach to this black wire that goes to the output jack. Now there's a couple ways that you can do this. I guess the conventional method would be to use a butt connector. So you put the two wires into the butt connector and it's got metal in the middle, and then you can crimp it down on both ends. And then they also have the butt connectors that are the shrink wrap ones, heat shrink ones, which you put both wires in, and then you heat it up with a lighter, and then it melts around and makes like basically a solid wire. That's very good for a connection that you kind of want to be permanent. But because I don't know how long this pickguard is going to be in here, and I'm probably going to change the pickups, possibly the whole setup very soon. I'm not going to do it permanent like that and use a butt connector. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist the wires together and then use electrical tape. And it shouldn't come out. It should be fine. If you're using this for gigging, you might want to have a butt connector. I mean, you're always going to have a backup guitar anyway if you're gigging. But this should work out fine. Never had any issues with it. As long as you just twist the wires up so that they're like all the strands are one solid wire. Another thing I could do too, if I want it to be permanent, is just melt some solder onto here before I do the duct tape. And actually there's solder on here already because I did that in the other parts guitar. The guitar that this came out of. Pickguard is on, strings are on, tuned her up, played her, and it's good. So yeah, I just need the Vandalism sticker now, possibly a JB. This humbucker actually doesn't sound bad. It's okay. It does alright if you give it a lot of dirt. Can't really complain about that. I am going to do a sound demo, probably playing some Nirvana, because after all it is a Vandalism Stratocaster. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Subscribe. I hope to do more builds. I hope to do a Jaguar build coming up pretty soon. And yeah, don't be afraid to do this stuff, because it's fun as hell and it's not really that hard. And if you start with guitars that are not really that expensive, there's not really, you know, it's not a huge loss if you do screw it up really bad, if you make a big hole in the body routing it or something like that. So yeah, if you made it to this point, props, because I know this is probably going to be a long video by the end. Alright, peace out, see you in the next one.